Hi there, friend. Welcome to Yarnchix podcast episode 56, a very special holiday and traveling edition. I usually podcast from Berlin. Now we've traveled to the UK, so I thought I'll show you all the little and medium-sized projects that I've brought along on our travels. Yeah, my name is Mimi. I am Leigh on Instagram, and I have this Yarnchix podcast here where I talk about knitting, crochet, sewing, crafting in general, and a lot of community craft-alongs. So there's currently 2 that I'm hosting that I will also mention as part of my travel knitting. So welcome to this corner. I've got a hot cup of tea. It's a black tea with a lot of milk. And I've brought some biscuits along, my new favourite, ginger chocolate biscuits. So I hope you have a snack, a nice bevy. I hope you have some knitting. I've actually brought some knitting or another project, and that you have a little bit of time to sit with me today as I knit here on a tiny island in the estuary near Liverpool. Whilst the family's exploring, I hope they have enough to do so that I've kind of carved out half an hour to just record some of my crafting. So today I finished a thing. I would have shown you a little visual medley, and I guess this thing would have featured there strong as like one of the main characters of my travel knitting, because I've been knitting on this for quite a lot of the time. It lives in my beautiful bento bag gifted by Alice, a friend of mine from Berlin, and she handmade it. I love the fabric, and it just had to come with me, and it had to host my main travel project. Bento bags are super practical for knitting projects. So today I managed to 3 needle bind off my flatterbutt tee. Well, it hasn't got the frills yet, and I'm afraid this is all the yarn I've left whilst travelling, so I haven't got enough yarn to actually make the frilly bits, because I'm using 3 strands of Lino Muka. This is the last project during the Lino Muka knit along that I'm hosting currently, and it's a summer t-shirt for me to be worn as a set, as a kind of little pyjama set. The pattern is Flatterbutt shirt by Jessie May, or Jessie May Designs, Jessie May Martinson. And yeah, the shorts are these. I wear them a lot already with other t-shirts. I've knitted myself some knitted bottoms. I can't believe I've made leg wear basically. And this is in the beetroot colorway, and the top, which is, you know, I cast off today without doing the sleeves, is much more crinkly, but both of them are knitted holding 3 strands of Lino Muka, and the top is the dusty rose colorway and the bottom is the beetroot colorway, and you might see that is worn and blocked, and this one is crinkly and freshly off the needle, so it will get that kind of silky, stretchy stitch with a little bit of time. And I made these in the XL, which I had to work out are way too big, so they're a size too big for me, and I made this a size L, so the large, the shirt, and it fits perfectly. Let me pop it over my outfit. I'm gonna be a bit warm, but is that? Yeah. Front, back, I've kind of divvied up by making the ribbing at the top of the back a little bit shorter so I can tell the difference. I didn't make the frilly hem, so you've got this rolled hem situation, and it's just gorgeous and nice and airy because it's quite a loose stitch definition. I'm going to try and block it here today before we leave, because we've got to leave. It's so sad. Holidays are over. Why does holiday time always rush away, and like home time is like, when can we finally go on holiday? Yeah, this time it really felt like a big rush. But yeah, this was the main project I was knitting on. I was knitting on this at a knit night. I went to Wild and Woolly for their monthly knitters lock-in, and I had such a fun. It was on Wednesday, so they always have this on the second Wednesday of the month, and I happened to be in London at the time, so I went to see Anna, and Bronte was working that day when I was there in the afternoon, and yeah, I just met up with lots of London knitters, and I was knitting on this quite a lot. Fabienne, my friend in London, we met a couple of times, so we always sat together in the scorched grasses of London and knitting. She was knitting her summer project and I'm knitting my summer project, so Fabienne and I kind of connected through summer knitting in this, and yeah, it was brilliant to have such a nice, very stockinette, very easy to remember project as my travel knitting. And yeah, I'm glad I completed it. I'm sad I haven't got enough yarn to do the frilly sleeves, but I'll do that at home. Maybe I can finish one side whilst travelling, because Lino Muka Knit Along comes to an end on the 23rd, which is in 5 days time from now. So once I've edited it, I think this is like the last day of the podcast. the podcast will be uploaded on the last day of the knit along or the day after, so I'm working on the price actually. Let me show you something. I found all these really cool secondhand garments and I took a pocket off a shirt, like a summer shirt, and I'm using these kind of fabrics to make a little quilted project bag as a price. And these things I think somehow I can fold up because it's like a rice pouch by Karen Stevens. And yeah, I will make that as a price for the overall winner of the Leigh Knit Along. And I kind of started by claiming some fabrics from this secondhand shirt. I'm gonna keep the shirt and wear it, but yeah, that's what lives in this project bag along with something else. So that's the first project I wanted to speak about. The second project I wanted to talk about is a little request. This is Freddy Frog, and you might recognize him because in the last podcast, episode 55 of the Yarnchix podcast, I was talking mainly about Magic 3 Mile, the knit along that we run throughout summer for kids things, where we craft sets of 3 for the little people in our lives, or our friends' kids, or a relative, or a child in need, because you could donate any of your handmade crafts to someone who's really longing for little handmade items. So as part of my sets, I introduced Freddy Frog. I think I showed the drawing last time. If not, I will, with the magic of editing, show you the drawing, which I left in Berlin, and just add it in here so you can see what Freddy Frog is part of. It's Amigurumi Frog pattern by, let me check, A Little Love Every Day. I found it through Ravelry, and it was a really simple crochet pattern. My child really wanted a little crochet frog, and it was meant to have this kind of, I hope you can see, if not I'll add some images, this kind of derpy face expression, and we call it her little friend for the next school year. So she's been playing with it, and so I'm really chuffed I made it. And as part of that set, I fixed a dress. It was worn at a family event, and we were really glad that it was like a second-hand dress that we managed to make so that she felt very comfortable and airy in it. She wore it with her favourite pair of leggings. This is how she likes to dress, and it was perfect. So that's the top, and then the bottom, in this case, I'm making a bag. And I cast this on this morning, and I've already finished half of the bag. I can't believe it. And this is, you know, you might have spotted me knitting on this. This is the second half. Maybe I really dream I can finish this today, because I really want to have it here for a magical sea glass collection. We've made a little sea glass museum of all the shells and sea glass we found on the shore here, and we go and check every time the tide is out. So it would be magical to be able to transport, you know, what sea glass magic we want to take off the island in this bag. So it's the Pocket Pouch by Imogen Denton, a beautiful designer, also from the UK, and I got the pattern by PayPaling them directly, and then Imi emails the PDF, so I downloaded all of that when I was still in Berlin, because I was hoping to knit this, but I hadn't found the right yarn. And then early on in this trip, I went to Norwich, and I met my friend Lisa, who's Erica Eccles, and she gifted me some plant-eyed yarns. Let me show you. Oh, the green one is here. So I made this half with her reed dyed yarn. She gifted me this little paper bag, and she said, just this first, it's just bits and bobs. But I can't believe it, they're like plant dyed yarn bits and bobs. So this green had to become one side of the pocket, and the other one this yellow. And I added leftover cotton from Freddy Frog. This time I'm adding this white cotton with the yellow, because I want to sturdify the bag. I want to make it quite like thick, and it calls, the pattern by Imi calls for Aran weight yarn, and I didn't have an Aran weight, so I held this double with the cotton that I had left from the frog, which was made to order thing. So we chosen the green in Berlin. It was all set up, and I only managed to do this like in the last 3 days here. And with the yellow, I found white cotton in a charity shop on shore, so I'm really happy that I could kind of sturdify both sides. So I hope to finish this. And oh yeah, the third yarn, so for there's going to be, so there's a round bag with a front and the back, so you have to imagine the same thing again, and I'll have a green side and a yellow side because that's how much yarn I have. I'd run out of the green cotton, so now I need to make a yellow side. And then this brown, which was also in that paper parcel present by Lisa, will be the straps, so I'm gonna add them. And maybe, I don't know if you can tell, I'm gonna add some imagery, otherwise this is a very fitting color scheme for the yellow scorched grasses, but also the tips of the plants out here that have seen a lot of sun. It's been very hot in England. And the green of the bracken, of all the kind of ferns that's here, that are growing all around us. And then the brown, I think, is reminiscent of the sand and the red sandstone of the island. So I'm gonna really treasure this and hopefully finish this today. So that is the second project for the second set of the Magic 3 Mile. We're really creative with the sets. There's one top, some bottoms and a toy in the sets, but like you see here, in this case I think I'm making the top the bag and the bottoms the dress, or the other way around, and then the toy is little Freddy the Frog. But you can be creative. The first set is something that I am currently working on the last item for. So previously I said I would finish set 1 before I start set 2, but I didn't finish set 1 because this frog was called for, and somehow I had a bit of a knitter's block. But I've begun. I finally started the shorts for set 1. With the magic of editing, I can include the little drawing, and hopefully also with the magic of time I will have finished these shorts. And that I made for the set are the Gingham Baby Bloomers by Agasalhos e Bugalhos, a Portuguese designer. And I really love how actually I'm learning a new skill, which is double knitting. So the legs of these mini shorts are double knit, and then the next thing I will do, and you can see the needle has already tangled itself up with the 2 bits, will be putting all these on the needles and knitting the little crotch area, and then it'll be a colour work shorts with dark blue ribbing. I am not 100% sure if I'm gonna work out size wise with this project, because when I was in Berlin I chose a yarn that's much thicker. It's Magazine Duet Blues in the jeans blue and this cream colorway. Then I realized I needed a third color. Thank the charity shop goodness of this world, I found a really dark blue, almost black, that I can use. I haven't got it here right now, but you will see in the finished object it's almost the same blue but slightly darker, and I hope it's going to work in the color work. Also, I've changed gauge because, like I said, I brought a thicker yarn for this project than I actually needed. It was meant to be knit on a 3.5, but this would be tight as it would just be solid if I knitted it on a 3.5. So I'm using the 4.5 that I used in this project instead. So I had to wait till I finished this, and there was parts of the project where I was juggling it because I wanted to only just get started before I start on the bag, and you know, all those thoughts you have and plans you make. I can't believe I spent my holiday like organising my own knit projects in this. Well, I like a bit of knit chaos. Anyway, this is the Gingham Baby Bloomers project, and I will definitely knit that on the coach tomorrow when we go back to London, hoping to finish so I can give it to my friends and that set to be complete so I can show you, and fingers crossed I did it and you see pictures of it now. I really want to make for them is actually with this amazingly luminous saffron yellow orange yarn that my friend chose years ago. It's a travel knitter yarn, and it is a DK weight, and it was bought at Wild and Woolly about 3 years ago. My last very final visit to the UK, I took my friend to Wild and Woolly, and she met Anna, and we just hung out for the afternoon, and we bought this for a baby project. Now 3 years later, this baby is a baby no more. And I decided, instead of making the cardigan, which this child wouldn't fit into anymore, I want to make a little sledging scarf. I'm going to include a little picture here so you can see the project, and I might cast this on in London once I've finished the Gingham shorts, just so they see that it's a work in progress, and that will become part of the third Magic 3-mile set I planned for this year. Knit along runs until the 1st of October, so I feel confident that I can wash out another set, especially because the bottoms for that I want to sew. I'm trying really hard to carve away my sewing kind of block and fear of the sewing machine. I'm hand sewing the little kind of patchworky bag, and then I will finish that on the sewing machine. And I have cut out a whole dress for myself before the holidays. I didn't manage to holiday pre-sew like an actual outfit for the holiday, but I've planned it and it's waiting for me in Berlin. And then I want to sew the Wixtom harem pants for the third set. So I'll have the sledging scarf. It will have a pinguino with lots of leftovers, and maybe also these like plant dyed yarns that I got here in England. And I want to I want to sew the trousers with fabric. Maybe I'll even use a little bit of the same kind of seaside-y fabrics. I'm not sure. It definitely involves some linen from our shop. But yeah, that's the third set I'm planning. Yeah, so remember, Magic 3-mile runs until the 1st of October. I accidentally made a mistake whilst travelling up here and said that Magic 3-mile was finishing when the linen knit along is finishing, but no, the linen knit along is now finished, but Magic 3-mile we have until October, so phew. And I've got a couple of prices now that I'm in the UK, because some friends sent me items whilst I was here, and I will show you little film and little images of that when I'm in London. I can film the price because I left the prices in London. I didn't want to transport it all the way out here and risk losing it, or I don't know. It's a bit of a shame that I can't show you here live on camera. However, I would have just shown you the film so that you can see some of the prices to try and entice you in. I've got Laura's amazing little hand quilted thing. I've got some stuff from Wild and Woolly. I've got you know, some yarn coming in from Raquel all the way from Spain. I know that sweet Fran of the One Hearted will donate something again, and I think in general we'll have beautiful prices. Definitely going to include some of my zine stuff and my own craftings. There will be one of the summer knitting project or tote bags and a pin, and I'm creating the Yarnchix calendar again for next year, so I'm already preparing that in September to update the Etsy shop with a made to order, because I'm gonna try and have it printed this time. So I'm gonna have a made to order Yarnchix calendar for 2023, and one of them will be a price as well. That's as far as I know. If any of you want to sponsor little gifts for our craft along, you're super welcome to get in touch. I thought as part of the kind of wind down, because that's the projects that I've brought, that's the project that I've been working on, or that I am working on, and that I've finished here, is I can include a little extra acquisitions, like a little yarn haul at the end, because obviously I've been shopping for British yarns whilst I was here. They're very specific yarns that I miss, or that I've not really had my hands on for a long time, or that it's not as easy to get. And obviously I shopped a little when I was at Wild and Woolly. I also shopped some books and zines, which was coincidentally something that I chose to do the same day as my Wild and Woolly shop visit. I went to the London Centre for books, and I scored some really beautiful, coincidentally very fitting zines there as well. And yeah, and in general I always include a knit reportage at the end of the episode, so this time you will have a little bit of chatter which comes in the form of the knit reportage about the Wizard of Wild and Woolly. And I'm gonna show you a yarn haul. First of all, I will show you the beautifully plant dyed yarns that Lisa gave me. She gifted me more than just the 3 items that were in the first bag. She gifted me a big lot of Southdown yarns from a specific flock that she had scored undyed of a farm or a shepherdess that hadn't, I don't know, made any plans for the yarn. They produced them and then she managed to somehow buy it off them, and she had quite a lot, and she plant dyed in these beautiful shades. So I'm going to include showing you this, as well as some images of us sitting together as the first acquisition. And you will see the acquisitions that I got at Wild and Woolly, and with a little bit of help, there's the purchase of some spindrift yarn, which I really love. And I'm hoping as I go back to London, I will go to Knit with Attitude and might add some yarn to these hauls, because I'm planning to knit the Power Clay sweater by Midori Hirose, a beautiful design of this kind of color work yoke. I might also add color work into the sleeve and at the bottom again, because I want to use as much as possible of these yarns. They're my kind of souvenir things from all the shops. I tried to get 2 colours for the colour work sections, and I got a beautiful Donegal tweed as the main colour. So I hope you enjoy, pardon me, I hope you enjoy the knit reportage this time, being a London meander and woolly yarn acquisitions and finds and gifts. And I hope you also enjoy the Tara Knit Oracle, which I decided I wanted to do about my kind of time in London and connecting with that beautiful community. The Wild and Woolly Knit Night showed just so many beautiful crafters, and it was such a nice evening to connect to this very interlinked community. I really enjoy what Anna does with Wild and Woolly, and how homey and safe it feels, and how beautiful, yeah, it was just beautiful to be there and sit there. And I wonder how I can make it possible for myself to connect more to that London crafters, or in general to all my UK friends and knitters. I think that question came up especially because it's been 3 years since we've been here, and not wanting to start crying again, but I really miss being here, and I'm glad I got to take you here and do this little holiday and travel knitting special edition. podcast, and to conclude it with how can I be connected, how can I do this, be more connected with my UK knitter friends and this community that's out here. I'm gonna turn the camera around, show you the view, because the tide is fully in and we're surrounded by sea and the skies are full of rain. Hopefully there will be rain, because we've hardly got any rainwater to wash with, and we need to leave some rainwater for following family friends. So yeah, I'm gonna leave you with that view, and then it's gonna fade over into London madness and my Tarot Knit Oracle. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. It's been a joy. I'm gonna carry on knitting on Imi's pocket pouch. The design is from her Blackthorn winter collection. I failed to say this earlier. And yeah, you can find Imi, you know, on Instagram. I hope you're well, and thank you for your time. Take care of yourself.
Like a bird on a tree, I'm just sitting here. I got time, it's clear to see. From up here, the world seems small. We can sit together. It's so beautiful, you and me. We meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free. Sometimes you need to go and take a step back to see the truth around you. From a distance you can tell. You and me, meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free. You and me, meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free.
So, it's been 1 week in London. I'm walking along the River Leigh for a little stroll. I'm walking to the book centre, so I'm going to buy some nice books. I've got the day to myself, which is nice. It's very hot. Like, London has been burnt to a crisp, or most of the, like when we saw Norwich, also all the grass is burnt there. But look here, so this is River Leigh. There's all of these barges, like river boats, and I guess people live on them or rent them for holidays, and it's a super nice walk. Couldn't do it without my hat because it's mega hot. Yeah, so walking to the bookshop and then walking over to Wild and Woolly. Or I think I'm going to take a bus because it's too hot. Yeah, and then at Wild and Woolly I will up with my samples. I might go somewhere else in London as well, if it's not too far to go and come back, because tonight it's the lock-in at Wild and Woolly, so I'm joining the knit night there, and I'll try and collect some impressions as this occasion's knit reportage coming to you from London Hackney.